After saving a lion cub, a man is surrounded by the pride, and what they do is shocking. The river churned and hissed as David Thompson fought to keep his head above water, the cub's small claws digging into his shoulders. Just moments earlier, the 34-year-old wildlife photographer had been focused on his camera, lost in the rhythms of the African dawn. But in an instant, everything changed. A flash of movement, a tiny cub caught in the river's hungry current, and David's world turned upside down. David had spent years in Kenya's Masai Mara, carefully observing life's brutal dance. He knew the rules of the wild: watch, don't interfere. But in that moment, as the cub's panicked cries cut through the morning stillness, instinct overpowered reason. He dove in, ignoring the dangers of the crocodile-infested waters, ignoring the voice in his head that warned him this was not his fight. He wasn't just risking his life for a cub. He was breaking a vow he had lived by for years. The river was merciless. Hid in branches, tore at his skin. The current slammed him into submerged rocks. Each breath was a battle, each heartbeat a prayer. But when his hand finally closed around the trembling cub, he felt something he hadn't expected. A fragile, desperate life clinging to his own. The cub's fur was soaked and heavy, his tiny heart racing in terror. David's arms ached as he fought the current, every stroke a war against exhaustion. Muddy water surged around him, threatening to drag them both under. But inch by inch, he pushed forward, driven by something deeper than instinct, the stubborn, unwavering conviction that no life, no matter how small, should be left to drown. When he finally reached the muddy bank, gasping and trembling, he looked up, and his breath froze in his lungs. There, emerging from the tall grass, were 5 lionesses and a massive male, their golden eyes locked on him. The pride had come for their cub. David knew he had crossed a line. In that single act of compassion, he had entered their world. And now he stood at the mercy of Africa's fiercest predators. The air was thick with tension. He held the cub close, its tiny whimpers blending with the rush of the river behind him. The matriarch stepped forward. Her muscles rippled with power, her gaze steady and unreadable. David's legs felt weak, but he didn't move. He met her stare, every sense screaming that he should run, but he couldn't. He had saved her child, and now he had to trust that she would understand. For a moment that stretched into eternity, the world held its breath. Then slowly, the matriarch lowered her head. Not in threat, but in a gesture that defied every law of nature David thought he knew. It was a bow of recognition, an unspoken acknowledgement of the bond between them. The cub in his arms let out a soft chirp, a call to his family. The matriarch answered with a deep, soothing rumble that seemed to vibrate in David's bones. He felt the fear in his chest begin to loosen, replaced by something else. Oh. The other lionesses moved forward, their paws silent on the wet earth. Each step was measured, deliberate. There was no aggression in their eyes, only curiosity and perhaps something more. The male lion watched from the river's edge, his massive frame a silent sentinel. David's action camera, still rolling, captured every second, every breath, every heartbeat of this impossible moment. Slowly, David knelt and set the cub down. The little one stumbled forward, his cries turning to purrs of relief as the matriarch reached out to nuzzle him. The other lionesses surrounded them, their soft, chuffing calls filling the air with warmth and belonging. David watched, stunned. He had expected fury, violence, but instead, he was witnessing something sacred, the reunion of a family. The pride's relief was palpable, their joy in the cub's return a testament to the depth of their bonds. And then the matriarch turned to him again, her amber eyes locked with his, and in that gaze, David felt the weight of an ancient understanding. She stepped closer, so close he could feel the heat of her breath on his skin, and gently pressed her forehead against his, a gesture of acceptance that transcended the boundaries of predator and human. Tears welled in David's eyes. In that touch, he felt something older than fear, a shared language of trust, a quiet promise that for this moment, at least, he was part of their world. As he stood, the pride parted. They formed a path through the grass, a silent, regal escort guiding him back to his camera. One by one, the lionesses brushed against him, their massive bodies gentle, deliberate. Even the male lion, his presence like a mountain of muscle and calm, dipped his massive head in a sign of peace. David walked that path in a daze, his mind reeling with the enormity of what he'd just experienced. He reached his camera, turned back one last time, and saw the pride melting back into the grasslands, the cubs safe at their center. The footage he captured that day stunned the world. Wildlife experts called it a miracle, a moment that defied every expectation of predator behavior. Dr. Sarah Mbeki, an animal behaviorist who reviewed the video, said, "This wasn't just instinct, it was intelligence. It was a moment of true understanding, a glimpse into the soul of the wild." For David, it was more than a scientific curiosity. It was a testament to the power of empathy, the bridge that can span even the vast gulf between man and beast. In saving the cub, he hadn't just risked his life, he had earned something priceless, the trust of the wild. He would return to that riverbank many times in the years that followed, and each time, the pride would appear at a distance, the cub, now grown, watching him with the same calm curiosity. It was a bond that could never be spoken, but it was real. If this story moved you, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share this video. Your support helps us bring these powerful, true stories to life, stories that remind us of the wonder and the mystery that still lives in the heart of the wild. Leave a comment below. What would you have done in David's place? Let's keep this conversation alive. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, stay brave, and remember, sometimes the wildest hearts are the ones that understand us best.